And then Elon tweeted out, after this kind of joke, he tweeted out something that I think Republicans and conservatives should pay attention to. He tweeted out, quote, "The left is losing the middle." And I think for a lot of us whose head is in politics all the time, and we're constantly reading what's going on the internet and on Twitter and even cable news or something like that, it's easy to forget that a lot of people don't spend all of their time thinking about politics. A lot of people do other things, right? They have lives outside of politics. And so this is why the left is so effective, because the left controls all of the institutions, in particular the media institutions. So if you're only spending, 20 minutes a day hearing anything about politics, you're only going to hear the left's message. You probably haven't heard the right's message. But the left is going so far in a radical direction that even people who are in the middle, who maybe are not paying a ton of attention, who don't have particularly strong ideological views one way or the other, they're beginning to notice, even though I haven't been reading Politico all day, I know I don't want to be with the people tearing down George Washington statues. Even though, I'm not totally paying attention, I don't want to be with the people burning down American cities or attacking different Americans or burning down federal courthouses. Right? The left is, in fact, losing the middle. Why are they losing the middle? No, I think what the Trump campaign and other Republicans have tried to do up until this point in the campaign is basically pander on left-wing issues. So they've gone after Joe Biden for being too tough on crime in 1994 because they think that's going to help them win the black vote, which to me, it's such obvious, transparent pandering. That's not the right strategy. Or they'll go after Joe Biden because they'll say he wasn't pro-gay marriage early enough or something like that. And you just think that's going to win over the middle? The middle doesn't care about that. The middle, who doesn't have a lot of time to pay attention to politics, just cares about basic things. Keep my family safe, support my country, be able to go to work, right? Simple things where the Republicans could be winning if they would just take the message there. And I think finally that's what's beginning to happen with the Trump campaign and with others. The radicalism is not just at the national level, it's in every one of these Democrat cities. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot obviously is running one of the worst managed cities in all of America. They have huge problems there, in particular crime. Parts of Chicago, it's like you're walking around downtown Fallujah sometimes. And so in the midst of all this, President Trump comes in and says, look, if you can't take care of your city, I'm going to send in the federal government to instill order, because we're not going to permit an American city to be a war zone. And Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, goes on CNN, doesn't say, thank you, federal government, please help us, doesn't admit that she's got a problem in her city. She goes on and she says she doesn't want the problem to get fixed.
We can't just allow anyone to come into Chicago, play police in our streets, in our neighborhoods, when they don't know the first thing about our city. That's a recipe for disaster. And that's what you're seeing playing out in Portland on a nightly basis. We don't need that here. That is not a value add, and it doesn't help enhance our public safety.
You do need that. It would be a value add. It would help enhance your public safety. First of all, this idea that the federal agents are playing cop. No, I think they've got a much more successful record at law enforcement than Lori Lightfoot does in Chicago. And by the way, the head of the police union in Chicago says that everything she just said is BS. And actually, the head of the police union in Chicago is asking for the federal help, because the civil authority there, people like Lori Lightfoot and other Democrats that run other Democratic cities, are not enforcing the law enough. Forget Chicago. Look over at New York City. New York right now, shootings are up. They had 47 shootings last week. Not last month, not the last 2 months, not the last 6 months. 47 shootings last week. Do you know what spike that is? That's a 176% spike compared to the same period last year. That's according to police sources in New York. Who are these people that got killed? Well, one of them, 16-year-old, shot in the head and killed. 16-year-old kid, teenager. Another one, 18-year-old, shot in the head, actually survived, unbelievably, wonderfully, in critical condition though, because of the mayhem on the streets of New York. And what is that mayhem caused? Well, it's caused by not enforcing the law, undercutting the police, stoking a narrative that the police are racist, slaughtering innocent black men across the country, which is a lie, encouraging people to go out and riot, locking people up, not letting them go to work for 6 months at a time. How long has it been now? It's been, what, 4 or 5 months at this point? And the argument for all of this, do you remember the argument for all of this from Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, who has handled this lockdown / plague / riot crisis worse than any governor in America? Do you know what his argument was for his draconian restrictions? His argument was, if it saves one life, if it saves just one life.
This is about saving lives. And if everything we do saves just one life, I'll be happy.
What if everything you do leads to a 176% spike in shootings? Then it will not have been worth it, I assume. Who's going to be held responsible for that? Forget even, moving past the shootings aspect of this, Andrew Cuomo's specific COVID policies killed thousands of senior citizens. Didn't save lives. Who's held responsible for that? The middle. The people who don't have a whole lot of time. Who they only hear snippets from the mainstream media. That's what they want to hear about. They want simple things, lives. Don't get too abstract. You don't need to get into, lofty gender theory to win them over. Say that you're going to protect people. Meanwhile, what are Democrats doing? They're undercutting their argument even more. Now they're talking about defunding military recruitment. If you enjoyed that video, and I would hope that you did, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so that all of the befuddled radicals wading through the wasteland of YouTube knows where they can get the truth. Thanks.